Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Dr. Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm here live with Jonathan Smith. He is an MD and an MBA, and we're here to explore a little bit more about the Healthier is Wealthier and Associates, where he is the CEO and the founder, and get into a little bit more of what he's doing with that. So welcome to the show. We're certainly excited to have you here, Jonathan.
Hello, thank you. I'm excited too.
Want to ask a few questions just to get a little bit more familiar with your background. Want to see kind of an inside view into how things have transitioned to where you're at today.
Certainly.
Let's look back when you were, say 7 or 8 years old. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I was given a choice. I could be an engineer after my father, or I could be a doctor, which was really what my mother wanted. That was a difficult choice. The scientist in me liked the idea of being an engineer where you could take things apart and put them together and build stuff which really was personal and, it's machinery, statues, cars, planes, stuff like that. But it's inert. It's not alive. Whereas dealing with people from the health point of view attracted me.
Okay.
There was also the fame and notoriety which is supposed to come with physicians, but that never occurred to me. The idea to be able to help somebody. And that was reinforced at a very early age. I became a Boy Scout, and the code of ethics, and the code of ethics of the Boy Scouts. I promised to help everybody at all times. Is deeply ingrained in me. Can I help you? How can I help you? And medicine seemed to be a better choice from that point of view.
Fantastic. I like that. In fact, I'm a Boy Scout commissioner, so I can understand how important it is to have the ethics instilled within those boys, and certainly the boys of today will be the leaders of tomorrow, and it sounds like that really was manifested, those ethics, as in your leadership.
Let me shake your hand with a left-handed handshake. Be prepared. And, I became an Eagle Scout right up at the top.
Fantastic.
So
fantastic.
That is a code of conduct that I like. And the 12 Scout, blah, blah, blah. You know all about that sort of stuff.
Fantastic.
So that's ingrained in me. And so that led me towards the healthcare profession, helping other people.
Okay. And you said your mother was a little bit more for you getting into medicine. What other influences directed you into medicine?
Helping people was probably the strongest. On my honor, I promised to do my to help other people at all times. And prevail was powerful.
We should just go through the Scout oath and the Scout law. Now,
another time. We'll do that another time.
Of course. Yeah. So tell us when you got into medicine, how did your career start, and how has it evolved to where you're at today?
Well, the first thing that is different about the university in Africa, the University of Cape Town, it takes 6 years. The first 3 years are in basic science. The other 3 years are in clinical sciences. It's a long learning, growing period. After that, I did a couple of house jobs. I went back to Zimbabwe and worked in an 800-bed African hospital, and that was a revelation. There were a bunch of people that came in that I turned to my superiors and they said to me, there's nothing we can do. But the fun part about that is I had an interesting referral network with myself and what is called a Nganga, an African witch doctor. And he used to send us patients that he couldn't fix, and we used to send out to him patients that we couldn't fix. So it was a fascinating relationship.
Wow.
These guys will be, they'd fix them, and we that didn't work. And one guy came in, he said his friends told me Doctor, the patient is 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 um, is unable to talk. The patient is something bewitched. I said,
Okay.
what do you mean a patient's bewitched? He says nothing. So we examined him from head to toe, and we put him in a hospital bed, and I went to examine him, and the guy is standing up absolutely naked, and all he's doing is going, "He." I looked at this guy, and he looks back at me and goes, "He." And that's all he did for 3 days. The fourth
Oh
day
my
he got up and
goodness.
he was fine and he left. We did nothing to him except listen to him making funny noises. That was
Wow.
one memorable case. The other one was
Yeah, I imagine. I don't think you get that image out of your head.
the other one, which is still running around in my head. Late on a Sunday night, when our tempers were sort of pulled to the limit, they wheel in a little old lady in a wheelchair. And what's wrong with you? She cannot walk. I said, what do you mean she cannot walk? She cannot walk. How long can she not walk? 4 years. And then I lost it. It's 10 o'clock at night. This has been going on. We've been here all weekend. She's been doing like this for 4 years. What's taking you so long? And we decided that we would use some of their medicine to help them. So we got some methylated spirits and cotton. We built a fire in the middle of the emergency room and ran around going, you can walk. She got out of her wheelchair and she walked. Well, we examined her and she really couldn't walk because she had lesions all up and down the bones of her body of cancer, and it was impossible to walk. But her medicine allowed her to walk. So the power of the human mind, I'm impressed with that. What the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The question is, what do you want? And that was another memorable occasion for me. And that I can help you if you want to help, is what that's all about. So I started off in surgery, and after about 2 years, I didn't like it. So I went and I said to him, I don't know if I want to be a surgeon. What do you recommend? He says, well, go into do some time in anesthesia and look at the different surgeons and the branches of surgery and see if there's anything there that impressed you.
Okay.
I did a year of anesthesia, which is keeping people alive in spite of what the guy with the knife is doing, and liked it. And then I had to, it was, what do I do? I decided to stay in anesthesia.
Okay.
And I got my final degree, which is a fellow of the Faculty of Anesthetics of the College of Surgeons of South Africa. So I'm a fellow of that college and have been an anesthesiologist ever since.
Okay.
And it has taught me that I am a clinical physiologist. I've got to understand how this machine works. And I'm a clinical pharmacologist. I've got to understand how it changes when I stick stuff into it and hopefully get it out again. But that is my role, keeping people alive in spite of what the guy with the knife is doing, or sitting in a corner somewhere and passing gas, or however you want to say it. My job is to keep people alive during surgery. And there have been occasions where I've had to say to the surgeon, step aside, we are losing him. It's my job. And get them back.
Wow.
And I'm proud to say that I have never lost a patient.
Wow. Congratulations.
Giving anesthesia.
I mean, that is,
never. And that's in 40 years.
That is amazing. And it sounds like you've had to take some stands every once in a while.
Oh, when life is at stake, stops. Everything stops. And I did some research while I was an anesthesiologist and discovered that there were 2 anesthetic chemicals that we were using commonly, but in fact they were to pigs. And I got them removed from use. So we don't use them because they have potentials. That was to excitement that's written up in the South African Medical Journal, I think. But,
oh, really?
Yeah. And then the big highlight was I was asked by Professor Christian Barnard to give the anesthetic for his second double heart transplant. Now, there's some stories behind that. You know that he did the world's first heart transplant.
Okay.
That was well, the problem with that was that if you stick another heart in, the human being starts rejecting it. So they're on all kinds of anti-rejection medications. And he thought, well, what if he sticks another heart into the right chest as an auxiliary bypass pump to the heart in the left chest? And if the heart, his own heart, fails, there was this auxiliary bypass pump that would take over. Okay, it sounded good. It was a fascinating plumbing job. I'm not a surgeon, but I can describe it. But I was sitting with this guy the next morning, and he's sitting up in bed, talking to me and having breakfast. And all of a sudden, his own heart fibrillates. And I grab the pedals and I look at him, and he's still sitting up in bed, having breakfast and talking to him. So the transplanted heart had completely taken over his functions, his life.
Wow.
And then the magic starts. The transplanted heart circulated enough blood and oxygen through his body so that his own heart revived and started beating again.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
After a while, both hearts started beating absolutely. And I was standing there holding paddles like this, wondering what to do. So I very gently put the paddles down. Because I knew if I gave that guy an electric shock, I'd have killed him right there.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. That is another magic moment of mine. And that reinforces my inclination to be an anesthesiologist, my will and desire. And on the strength of that, I got a job at the Cleveland Clinic, spent time as their assistant medical director for the surgical ICU at the Cleveland Clinic for a couple of years before being recruited to the medical group in San Diego, where I was with them for a while and for the rest of my professional career as an anesthesiologist. I did go to business school, where I learned that from being in a very confined profession of expertise, I suddenly had a completely different point of view of business as it affects the whole wide world. And that changed in business, economics.
Okay.
So it's this confined point of view of giving anesthetics to one person at a time and keeping them alive, to this expansive point of view of doing some good in the business world. And it was then that it occurred to me that we as a population, as a species, need to do something about our health. We are killing ourselves with the epidemic of obesity, and it's costing us a bundle of money. Healthcare costs are exorbitant, and people are not taking care of themselves. And what they eat is, in my opinion, called a mess. A manufactured, edible, sustainable stuff. It's not food.
That's a good acronym.
Food is fuel for us. It allows us to move. And so I came up with a comparison of our bodies and automobiles. Automobiles need fuel. Now, the question is, what would happen? What kind of car do you drive? What kind of car do you drive?
Me?
Yeah.
I drive an Acura.
Okay, what would happen to your Acura, which I think you know pretty well, if you filled it full of, I don't know, Pemex gas put in 20 bags of cement into the trunk and didn't service it.
Yeah, it would be in bad shape. In fact, I need to get an oil change next week.
Sorry to have to remind you. Okay. What would happen to your car is a transport machine. Your body is a money-making machine.
Right.
But the same rules apply. Good food or fuel, lighten the load, get rid of your excess weight, and preventative maintenance. We call it sleep. And from that basis, Healthier is Wealthier was formed.
Okay.
On the one hand, increase human productivity by exercise, nutrition, sleep, all of which can be measured, and decrease the load, be more productive, so that healthcare costs drop. And that's the whole thesis behind Healthier is Wealthier. Good food.
Okay.
Good food. I mean, most manufactured sustainable food that this machine is designed to use. So we store it in a form of fat, obesity, getting heavier and heavier, which requires more fuel to move us around. It's like a car with 20 bags of cement. It needs more fuel. I say, lighten the load, give good fuel, and sleep occasionally, so that you're tuned up. And that was the basis of it.
Okay, so you've developed a device that you utilize in your profession to help measure the health and overall status of where people are at. Help me understand a little bit more of your medical device.
There are two devices.
And what you call it.
There are two devices. One is a Hilo band, which is a new device that measures a lot of your physiology on the go.
Okay.
Device. I'm a rep selling that, and I think it is worthwhile for people to keep track of their own health as much as they can. It's a very simple thing. You keep. It's like a Fitbit, but it has more things to measure, chemical stuff and things like that. So as an ongoing measurement of how it's looking at the gauges in your car. What's the fuel gauge doing? What is the speed gauge doing? It's a thing that you have and you look at all the time, and you can decide if you're going to do it or not. The other device is much more technical, and the story I got on that device, it is a bioelectrical impedance scanner, BIA. And the story I got with that one was by the Russians to look at the wellness of their astronauts when they're up there, and we can't get our hands on them. We don't know what to do with them. And if they get sick and ill, we're in a bunch of trouble. And talk about expensive, big healthcare costs for those guys. So I got my hands on one of those, and now that has also been perfected as a much more sophisticated machine, which requires looking at somebody for about 5 minutes. It's non-invasive and gives a whole bunch of physiological parameters, which I use as a baseline. This is you now. Let's change who you are and how you operate, and look at you with the same device in 6 months' time.
Do you mind sharing some of those metrics that are used in that device that you'll typically review with your patient?
The commonest to understand is the pulse, blood pressure, temperature, heart rate, oxygen saturation. Those are easy to understand. They're not very sophisticated parameters for me. But what is much more significant, it measures systemic vascular resistance, which is how clamped down and in a shocked state your human body is, because that blocks the flow of fuel to the cells where they have to produce the energy. So it's like putting a hose on the fuel line to the carburetor. And
that would not be good.
Not good, no. Same with us. That's the simplicity of the analogy. Our cars are transport machines. We are money-making machines. Same rules. There are also a lot of other chemical stuff which is inferred by various other calculations, like the oxygen saturation, the various electrolytes. I don't think that those are as valuable, but knowing that somebody is clamped down, there are not many causes for that. They're in shock, they're in fright, they are dehydrated, they have a high anxiety level. These things we can manage. And the elegance of this is that you can measure somebody now, you can get some results, you can give them a course to follow. Change your nutrition, change your exercise, change your sleeping habits, and let's look at you in 6 months' time. And you've either gotten better, hey man, carry on doing what you're doing, you're winning, or you've gotten worse. Stop whatever you're doing, don't do that anymore. Let's reevaluate and see what you do.
Right.
Or you stay the same. What would you like to do? Well, I'm feeling great. Then carry on. Let's change. Which gives people an understandable course to follow.
Fantastic. So,
science.
At what point do people need to get before they come to you seeking this type of a consultation?
A need and a want and a desire to be different, to change. I cannot help somebody who doesn't want to change. You want to change? You want to get better? Let's have a look at you.
Right.
It's very simple science. And at times people are afraid to change. Oh, I don't want to change. I'm okay. Okay, then I can't help you. What am I going to do? Force you to bed and stick a hook? I can't do that.
Right.
But those who want to, I can certainly give them some parameters of where they are, where they could be, and then encourage them to keep it up. Man, you are doing fantastic. Look at you. You dropped 17 pounds. Yes. Right. You find you can walk and play and have more fun. Yes. You're more productive at work. Hey, man. Yeah.
I love your attitude, and you just have so much energy. You really get a sense that you've literally internalized what you're talking about. You live a healthy life and are helping others to be converted as well.
I have to do this because if I look like a fat slob and walk around sick and yawning and moaning and complaining, somebody will look at me and say, "You want me to do what exactly?"
That's very true. Yep.
I got to be the example of what I'm talking about. So, I'm very proud of the fact that I'm older than 74, and my weight is 165, and I can do it as good as any teenager. I got to be the example. What am I going to do? How do I do? Just do what I do, dude. Eat.
Fantastic.
Do a little bit about how much exercise do I want to do? I use the machine to examine a group of people that are CrossFit. Now, you know about CrossFit?
I do. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Those guys are mountain men. Those guys are absolute animals. Those guys tear themselves apart.
Indeed.
I examined a group of them with using this device, and 1 in 5 had a cardiac defect that they didn't know about and prevented me from using the machine.
Really?
Really. Surprise.
A defect?
Yes.
So what do you do with that kind of information?
I give it to them. Here is what I found on you. What would you like to do?
Okay.
Now, the nutrition part is easy. Just eat good food. None of this canned stuff. Look at labels. Amazing. Thing. I subscribe to carb diet. I think carbs are bad for us, and we have more than enough. You just rose them. Are you there? Okay. Yes, you're good.
Yeah.
And
carbs. Yeah, we have more than enough carbs.
Yes. Cut out all the carbs. I barely have a carb in a day. And if you look at it from the science, carbs produce 9 calories per gram, which is 9 octanes of power in your gas tank. Sorry, 4. Carbs produce 4 calories per gram, which is 4 octanes in your gas tank. Fats produce 9 calories, almost double the amount
of energy.
Of energy. Well, hey, man, at the most expensive price or cheap Pemex.
Right.
It's to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So the low carb, the there's the name for it. Anyhow, I believe in low carbs and all the necessary vitamins that people need and can be tested for. Um, Exercise. The official exercise requirement for all employees of the state of Maine is sit for 60, move for 3. You keep a clock on your desk, you work for an hour, get up and move. It doesn't say do any major calisthenics and jumping around and get onto a treadmill. Move. Go to the bathroom, walk around the corridor, say hi to a cover for 3 minutes.
Every hour.
Every hour for your working day, which means in a day's work, you've done half an hour more than just went out of paper, turned on television and relaxed. So the confines on people of what they have to do for exercise, nutrition, stress relief are minimal. Just use what is around you. I haven't invented anything brand staggering new. I'm just using what I used during the time I was giving anesthetics, simple stuff to measure what was going on and to apply it. It's not necessary. People don't have to go to a gym and work out for half an hour and do all kinds of bone-breaking stuff and come out exhausted, can't move. You don't need to do that. We weren't built to do that stuff. And there are problems with that as well. As I showed when I scanned these people, they looked dynamic. Man, oh man, manly men like this doing half with cardiac defects. And the week before, the reason I got the contract was the week before, 2 people died in the gym doing that stuff. And the gym owner said, wait a second, we've got to find out what this is.
This is CrossFit.
Yes. As soon as they found out what was going on, we don't want you to scan any more of our people because bad for business. CrossFit is built on this dynamite sort of, that stuff. It's not necessary. This machine isn't built to do that sort of stuff.
So what you're saying is that high of intensity is unnecessary to become healthy.
It's not necessary. You want to do these, be my guest, but get fit and stay fit. I think there are easier ways to do it. Work up to that by all means. I've run marathons in my life. I did the New York twice and finished.
Wow.
But I had to build up to it. I cannot do it today. But do it. Yeah. I had a buddy who said to me, come on, let's go run a marathon. And he said, I bet you can't. I bet you I I did the necessary preparations, but I had somebody stationed at 5 miles and 10 miles and all me a quart of beer in a can with a straw in it. And I finished the New York Marathon singing and laughing and drinking beer.
Oh,
and there's good physiology behind it. Alcohol is good fuel. Not all of the calories of a sandwich or something like that. It's very good fuel. There wasn't a bunch of it. There was water to circulate. My circulation I was pink all over instead of blue like a lot of marathoners are. And they got wrapped up in towels and stuff to warm that. They've got no circulation. So,
yeah. Well, that is very interesting. So let me just ask, after someone has a consultation with you, do you partner up with nutritionists and people that help with exercise specifically to help create something that's customized for them?
Yes, I do. I also represent a company that has got a lot of nutritional substitutes and products attached to them.
Nutritional substitutes?
Yes, and supplements.
Okay.
The company is the RX company, ARIIX. So
RX, okay.
I can measure, I can recommend, I can make available to them for the use.
Fantastic. And so what is the website where they can learn a little bit more about what you're doing and some of the results people are seeing with this device, with these devices, I should say?
They can go to my website, Healthier is Wealthier. They won't see much about the device and anything like that. There are a couple of podcasts on the internet. There is a video that was put up in my name and Healthier is Wealthier on YouTube. And I've got a YouTube channel. Some of the stuff is there. And docspeak.info is pretty much where this is going to be placed. That is restricted to podcasting and talking.
And you have your own podcast show as well?
I'm going to be having one. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And I'm going to interview you.
Okay.
I have a sailboat, and it's being converted into the wellness boat.
That's
cool.
We're
going to cruise around San Diego Bay and talk like this.
My wife, that's one of the things that's on her bucket list is to go sailboat. To go sailing on a sailboat. Yeah.
Come down here when the weather's good, we'll do it. Absolutely.
Oh, I love San Diego. Yep, that sounds great. Well, I want to ask just a couple more questions. What is something that you want people to know about you?
I care. I care deeply about people's health, their wellness, and their longevity. I am going to live for over 100, and I want a bunch of people to join me. Now, there are 5 areas on the planet already where people live to over 100. They're called the blue zones. Okay. And I think that I've set my mind to it. I'm going to. Whatever it takes, I'm going to. That's my objective. Come join me. We're having a lot of fun. What would you rather do? Sit at home, have another beer? Or just live to over 100 and watch your family and your friends and just be positive about it?
Well, it's definitely about quality of life. And, just for your information, I'm actually getting ready to do my first half marathon. And
yes.
It's in April, and I've had to scale my progression. And yesterday I ran 9.5 miles, which is actually a personal best for me, just to kind of see where I'm at. And so you're right. It feels good to feel healthy. And I think there's a direct correlation with being healthy and wealthy and wise, kind of cliche, but
maybe the different way. Healthy, wise, and wealthy because, especially in this market, you have to consider what is going to happen to healthcare costs.
Right.
With this change in government. What is going to happen to industry as people continuously get unwell? Uh-huh. And I want to be around the 6%, absolutely got to do it, 16 to 20%. The active, aggressive people, you come up with a good idea, I'm in. Yeah, I want to be with those guys. Versus the laggards, I don't want to be in. You want to be with them? No. Let me give you some advice. Try running beer. Just pull the tab a little. During your practice runs, who cares?
Well, I don't personally drink any alcoholic substances, but I'm planning on having, I've actually been, have you heard of Dr. Barry's series? He has a few books that talk about how to convert your body to burning fat over carbohydrates.
Yes.
So I will be eating lots of fats before, and hopefully that will be enough.
Okay, hydration. Now, the interesting thing about alcohol that I discovered in my 3rd year of medical school.
Okay.
Alcohol increases the speed of water from your stomach.
Interesting.
So you get the food you need now, and it's you'll need a little gastrointestinal tract. somewhere in your large intestine. So you want to be rehydrated now, or you want to be rehydrated when you cross the finish line, exhausted?
Well, it's definitely an interesting, a different way of looking at staying hydrated and and to maximize your energy potential.
You got to get the stuff from wherever it is to the muscles,
right?
And then take away the stuff that you've burned.
Well, it's my first half marathon, and we'll see how it goes afterward. I'll constantly make adjustments and hopefully get up someday to where I can do a marathon like you have. At this point, I'm taking baby steps, though.
Do me a favor. Help you and coach you. Will you do that?
Say that one more time.
Keep me informed of your progress as you get to half marathon.
Right.
And let me coach you. Whether or not you take the advice, that's your call. But you won't become an alcoholic by drink beer. Try it.
Well, it's more of a there's a religious part of me that going back to my personal ethics.
This is medicinal. You're not getting enough beer. Food is fuel. Food is fuel, and this is fuel to get you there. You're going to put and not.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will definitely connect with you after the episode. I'd love to hear more of your advice and again, where can people learn more? Give us the two websites again, please.
Healthier is Wealthier, all one word, HealthierIsWealthier.com.
Okay.
Or DocSpeak. Or my YouTube channel. I've got a YouTube channel, which is Jonathan Smith, MD.
Okay. And we'll put those in the show notes for people so that people can find those links.
Yeah, and there is a Facebook page and my own personal Facebook page, as well as a Jonathan Smith, MD, MBA manager.
Okay, send me over the link to your Facebook page, and we'll include that in the show notes as well.
Okay, I'll do that.
Last thing I wanted to ask, if there were three truths that you've learned in your life, and it was, let's say, it was that 110th day of your life, and there were three truths that you would share with the world that have brought success, fulfillment, and happiness. What would those three truths be?
Be happy. Be healthy. Be smart.
Be happy, be healthy, and be smart.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And any books in particular that you're reading right now that have helped you with your health and nutrition?
Yeah, I read that stuff. I'm on the internet a lot, reading all kinds of. None come to mind right now because
there's a lot of information. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. Right. Well, Jonathan, I think the first place people should check out are your websites, and certainly they can. Sounds like they'll be able to get some customized coaching and advice to, as you say, live.
Have them be in touch with me directly. I'll treat them. They're my buddies.
Okay, fantastic. Well, all of those, and that's one thing that I've loved in our discussions before this and in the podcast is like you say, you care, you want to make it personal, you want to make it customized, you want to increase the quality of life. And so, listeners, if you're interested in taking your health to the next level, please contact Jonathan Smith. And Jonathan, thank you so much. I'm going to talk to you after I end this podcast and then get a little bit more information about some of your suggestions for me preparing for my half marathon.
Oh, yes, certainly. I'd be happy to. Good. And thank you for interviewing me. I've enjoyed this a lot, as you can see.
It's been a lot of fun, and you've had a lot of really good stories to share with us, and I think a lot of people will benefit. So thank you so much. I'm going to end the podcast, and I'll connect with you in just a second.